My name is Andrew Starr. For those of you who haven't met me, I went to Babson with John. And it is an obligation and a pleasure to be here. I'm sorry. It is an honor and a pleasure to be here, not an obligation. You know, when I started writing this speech, I'm moving around. When I started writing this speech, John had two requests for me. Number one, don't go too long. Number two, don't embarrass me in front of my boss. Mimi, you here? Hi, Mimi. I'm Andrew. Nice to meet you. Could I ask you, if you wouldn't mind, could you just cover your ears for a few minutes, and I'll just wave to you to let you know when I'm done, okay? Thank you. You know, before I get started on you two, I want to just quickly say something to your parents. I don't know where, where are the DeBartolomeos? I want to start with that. Oh, right in front of me. Yes, right here. You know, getting to know your family, I can tell that you two were terrific parents. Listen, Marla and Michael are so great. You know, Alex, it's all right. Dr. and Mrs. Kakianis, these are two of the nicest, most welcoming, most generous, just sweetest people I've ever met. Has anyone ever shared a meal with them that lasted under 4 hours? You know, when I got married, these two were among like the last 5 people at the hotel bar after party. They kept on buying me drinks, and I'm counting on history repeating itself. Stephanie Kakianis and her co-star were perfectly matched in both vocal brilliance and comic harmony. The Boston musical intelligencer. The Lorelei voices melded into warm harmonies that wafted like perfume over Stephanie Kakianis' velvety alto solo. The Boston Classical Review. To be perfectly honest, Stephanie Kakianis' role as Kumbara was underwhelming. And if I'm being really, really sincere, it was terrible. Greek Orthodox Weddings Weekly. Now, I don't actually know if they're going to publish that, but I will be submitting it as a letter to the editor. Now on to the happy couple. Folks, look at them. Would I be going out on a limb if I said that these two are like the greatest couple of all time? Yeah, let's hear it. The greatest of all time. All time. They are like the New York Yankees of couples, am I right? Let's hear it. The greatest. Woo. You too. Listen, I'm not the, that's all the Yankee stuff I got. You know, I'm not the type of person, as you can probably tell at this point, that can very easily stand in one spot and just compliment my friends. You know, you guys are so in love, and it's been so great watching your relationship blossom. So I think I just want to share a quick story. You know, a few weeks after John had just started dating Marla, I got a phone call from him, and we were talking about some really dude stuff, you know, manly stuff, and we brought up wedding ceremonies. And, you know, I've always known John's Greek. You know, I actually knew the first time he sneezed in front of me and feta cheese came rocketing out of his nose. And I know he's Greek Orthodox, but to be honest, he's never really shared much of that part of his life with me. Anyway, we got to talking about wedding ceremonies, and he mentioned that he would like to be married Greek Orthodox. And that was very important to him. And like I said, I've never been much exposed to this part of his life, so I sort of challenged him on it. And I said, all right, so you're dating this girl Marla. You know, it's been a couple of weeks. You know, you gonna ask her if that's okay with her a couple of weeks in? You know, generally the what's our wedding gonna be like conversation happens, at least in my experience, a few more years down the line. But maybe you should bring it up now, just get it out of the way. And I obviously thought this was horrible advice. But he, to my surprise, said, okay, I'll do that. And then a couple weeks later, said that he did and that the conversation went well. Am I crazy? You're dating a girl for like, what date was it? 3, 4? Fourth date? Yeah, and you're gonna bring up what your wedding preferences are? This is an extreme amount of confidence. You know, I could understand if that question came up, you know, if you were, let's just say, dating a Greek girl. I mean, the question might have more relevance, but you're dating a girl, her last name is Di Bartolomeo. You know, I'm pretty sure that's Italian or maybe Japanese or something. It's not Greek. So, you know, that's the kind of guy John is. He's a weird dude. You know, thank God for Marla. Someone who can tolerate his weirdness. You know, seriously, John, you married a great girl. Marla is smart, she's funny, she's outgoing, she's pretty good looking. You know, Marla, better luck next time. Actually, as far as first husbands go, John's not bad. I don't have a drink in my hand, but I need to wrap this up and maybe say something nice. So if everyone would please raise a glass. A toast to the newlyweds. Thank you. May you support one another, stand together, love each other, and be good to one another. A life of happiness. Cheers.
All right, guys, we're about 50% of the way there. For the guys. Someone told me recently that it's easier to follow a good act. Comedians like that, I guess. But tonight, I don't know about that. And I'm also going to say that I probably won't make it as far as started. I'm probably going to hang by the fireplace over here. I might make it as far as past this table, but that's about it. And I also have paper. So, for those of you who don't know me, my name is John. I'm a very close childhood friend of the groom. John and I met back in the 90s when we were just about 8 or 9 years old, I'd say. We both were enrolled in the same group tennis lesson at Bass River Tennis Club in Beverly. Wait. Andrew, did you wave Mimi, John's boss, about unplugging her ears? If not, you can listen now. We're in the safe zone of the speech now. Anyways, let me tell you, growing up, the John and John duo was unmatched by any other. And that became pretty clear over the years, not only to our families, but to our friends too. John Squared, as we became known. Think Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker in Rush Hour. Or Zach Braff and his ride or die surgeon and best friend Donald Faison in the TV series Scrubs. If it wasn't enough that, sorry I lost my place. If it wasn't enough that our minds always seemed synced up, almost in a creepy, I was just thinking the same thing kind of way. We were both named John on top of it. When people would call one of our names, we'd both look. Our identities were confused in a way, but it didn't matter because we were, in a lot of ways, the same person. Like, for example, when it came to girls. John nor I were ever real womanizers, or even really comfortable sparking conversation with girls in a public forum. Don't get me wrong, we had the intentions of doing so, but lacked the fearlessness to approach a girl that we were already convinced wasn't interested in us. Pretty common, I think. I think a defining moment, at least for me, was when a girl had to ask me to junior prom. Anyways, at one point we realized it was time to step up our game. So we started holding brainstorm sessions while we simmered in my family's hot tub. Sharing stories, posing new ideas on how to pursue women. I know what you're thinking. 2 dudes half naked in a hot tub, talking about girls instead of actually being accompanied by them. Kind of ironic, really. Anyways, at one point we considered applying the strategies of an MTV pickup artist named Mystery. Maybe some of you millennials will know this guy. Anyways, he wore ridiculous cowboy hats and had questionable but effective ideas for attracting the opposite sex. But after much debate and a few failed attempts, we stopped pursuing these out-of-box ideas. Looking back, it was also just not our style. Far too aggressive for our liking. But John met girls in other ways. By being himself. His unique, hilarious, and honest self. Which after all ended up being a lot more successful than any other pickup antics. I must warn you though, this approach does not work for everyone. I've just tried being myself over the years and I'm still very single. For John though, aside from being an effective tool for attracting women, being his true self also conveniently exposes a whole suite of damn good qualities. Some he developed on his own and others that were just a result of genetics / a really solid upbringing. And I'm willing to bet this was all very attractive for girls like Marla. For example, John's mom, Stacy, is one of the most genuinely sweet and caring women I've ever met in my life. His father, George, has balanced his successful career as a surgeon to raise a morally grounded son, and I would add, gentleman. Not to be outdone by Stephanie, who aside from being a loving big sister, also happens to be incredibly smart and accomplished vocal talent. And you can't underestimate the influence of Yaya Mary. What a special lady. Then you factor in John's unmatched sense of humor, the infectious laugh that goes along with it, his own impressive musical talent, rock-solid values, and a healthy outlook on life. Well, folks, you suddenly have yourself a guy that everyone wants to spend time with. This may surprise all of you, but I actually met Marla long before John did. I'm going to move a little bit further. Our first encounter is still up for debate, apparently, which I discovered after connecting with Marla at last night's rehearsal dinner. Well, I say it was philosophy class, but we can hash it out later. I remember this one day, I saw this girl visibly freaking out about not having done the prior night's reading. So I snagged a seat next to her, we talked for a bit. Next thing you know, we were regular philosophy class buddies. Upon graduating 2 years later in 2010, Marla was one of the girls I really hoped to keep in touch with. Gotta get my third page. In April of 2013, I ran into Marla. It had been about a year since we'd last seen each other, and I spotted her on the T en route to work at Mass General Hospital. It was an abbreviated conversation, but we both agreed it would be fun to branch out of our normal circles and get each of our friend groups together. 3 days later, Marla found herself, as fate would have it, on a first date getting drinks with her now husband, John. Do I think of a matchmaker? A little bit, yeah, I think I am. But honestly, I'm just so thrilled that two friends of mine saw in each other a lot of what I came to love about them. Marla, you are weird. Wonderfully weird, and a perfect compliment to John and the weird thing he's got going on. As Star alluded to. But Marla, you are also one of the most down-to-earth girls I've ever had the pleasure of knowing. And you speak from the heart. And Johnny, what can I say? I admire you in so many ways for what you've achieved personally, professionally, your undying generosity towards me and others, the way you live each day, and the incredible people with which you surround yourself. And now you have Marla, a gracious, intelligent, and beautiful partner for life, who will probably challenge you in ways you never imagined. I must say she's brought out the best version of you yet, and I can't wait to see where life takes you to next. Here's the glass. To the bride and groom.
start off by thanking Stacy and George for the amazing rehearsal dinner last night. It was like a mini wedding for anybody that was there, so thank you for that. Lisa and John, thank you for this beautiful wedding. I mean, look around. It's unbelievable.
For those of you that don't know us, I'm Hannah.
And I'm Stephanie.
And we've been pretty much inseparable since 6th grade. But we've been pretty much inseparable from Marla since 6th grade. We want to start off by saying, Marla and John, we love you both so much. And are so honored. Oh, God. We're so honored to be a part of this incredible event, which you mean the world to us. Steph and I have known Marla a long time. In fact, we all met in elementary school and Marla moved to Acton. Our friendship dates back to running around McCarthy Town Playground, encouraging various boys to be our boyfriends. Marla, of course, was the ringleader of that circus. Being new to school, Marla was shocked to discover that we were all single 12-year-olds. She changed all of that. It was Marla that taught us the magic of holding hands with prepubescent boys as we walked to McDonald's and explored Kmart. Through junior high, Marla was always a romantic. She would pass Steph and I notes asking us to rank which boys we liked. On into high school and off into college, Marla was our closest confidant and our cheerleader when it came to young love. We all saw each other through first kisses, first loves, and first heartbreaks.
Marla continued dating after college, but no one caught her attention until John came into the picture. Immediately, Marla was enamored with this kind, smart gentleman. She fell in love with his private guitar concerts, thoughtful dates to Beehive, and his ability to make a mean tortellini, or torts, as John likes to call them. Little did John know that although she instantly felt a spark, there were a few tests he would have to pass before she would be entirely sure. If you thought that we were the first test, you were wrong. Her first test, probably her biggest test, was introducing John to Buns, her beloved rabbit. Much to her delight and to our surprise, John quickly showed affection for the somewhat feared-after Buns. That definitely sealed the deal. His next test, the first time he met me, he was coming out to celebrate my birthday along with many other close friends who are here with us tonight, and John was late. And anybody that knows Marla and I knows how anal and prompt we are. So that was a strike in his book. Maybe you didn't know that till today. But as he showed up a little bit tardy, he apologized and he was holding a box of fresh homemade cookies. And he explained to me, Stephanie, I'm so sorry I'm late. I got stuck baking these in the oven. So I quickly erased that strike from his book. I gave him a big hug. And I could tell right then and there what Marla saw in you.
It's been so special to witness Marla and John's love for one another grow. They balance each other in every way while pushing each other towards success. They are two of the most kind, considerate, driven, and fun-loving people we know. Although both Marla and John are extremely hard workers, family and friends take precedent over everything else in their lives. It was no surprise to us they quickly decided to take the step of moving in with each other. While living together, they learned a lot from each other. John taught Marla the importance of fantasy football, and Marla taught John you can't saute cucumbers. But in all seriousness, they have learned how to be there for one another and how to love each other unconditionally.
Marla and John share many common interests. Their love of animals, bowling, trying new restaurants, going to the movies, traveling, and so much more. Thanks to a wedding in California and their love for traveling, they decided to take an extended trip to California. Hannah and I have to admit we were thinking there might be more than just a vacation away, and our fingers were crossed a little bit as well. We were so ecstatic to receive the phone calls from Marla that John had proposed. We were thrilled for our best friend that she had found her perfect match. The proposal was seamless with the exception of Marla's swollen fingers. Many of you know the story of her hands rising as soon as she knew that the proposal was coming. So after a few minutes of frantically trying to get the swelling in her fingers to go down, they made their dedication to one another official. I think it's safe to say that we've all been looking forward to this day since then. Marla and John, I want you to really take a moment to look around at all of the love and support that is in this room tonight. It is a true testament to you two as individuals and truly as a couple. We know that you are both destined for a wonderful marriage together.
And with that, we want to end with a toast. We forgot our champagne. Yeah. So let's raise a glass to this incredible couple. Thank you.
Wait, we have a toast. Quick toast. Just a few words. May your marriage be complete.
May your happiness be complete, your marriage be long and prosperous,
And your love for one another be everlasting. Please raise a glass for the new Mr. and Mrs. Podcast!
All right.